Welcome back. You're watching Kivumbi 2017. As I mentioned, just before we took that break, we are on the security situation in the country with just about 6 days to the general polls on the 8th of August. And a lot has been happening, from the killing of the IEBC manager of ICT to the reports on the missing or not of the spokesperson of the Army, Colonel Joseph Owoth. And of course, just how prepared are we as a country in terms of security? My panel once again, Delano Kielu, Richard Tutor, as well as Andrew Franklin. But let's start with the killing of Chris Msando and the circumstances surrounding his death, as well as we've had what their police spokesperson had to say. How do you analyze this, Delano?
Okay, so the killing of Chris Msando is what we call serious homicide. And the gravity is heavier simply because he was a senior government official responsible for a key national activity in the next few days to come. So this then becomes a very deep investigation that needs to take place immediately. But what is more concerning is the fact that a senior officer of that category should in no wise leave his workstation anytime after 8 p.m. without an armed escort. This is part of the policy and part of the protocol. So a lot of questions need to be asked as to why would somebody be so secure in his office with 3 layers of bubbles of security, and then when they leave, they take off wherever they're going by themselves? No escort, nothing to protect them. And there's a lot of questions that need to be answered from that perspective. So from then, we begin to trace his route from the office to what happened next. Who was he in communication with? Why was he in communication with the people he was in communication with? And what transpired thereafter? The typical hallmarks of what we see surrounding the activities are what would normally happen in the typical carjackings that occur in Nairobi, where people are dumped in the forest and their vehicles are recovered on the other side of town. In this case, unfortunately, it was a very aggressive physical attack. And we can see that he must have attempted to defend himself, because the arm injuries are typical of somebody trying to protect their head and face, which was unsuccessful. Head injuries led to trauma, which led to catastrophic brain failure, which of course resulted in his tragic death. And it's very unfortunate. We condole with his wife, his family. Chris is somebody who I knew. And he was somebody who was a stalwart, quiet, would call him a quiet champion. And it's unfortunate that he would die in such a tragic circumstance and situation. But in such cases, we still have to remain professional. We still have to ask the hard questions. Those questions are not going to go away. We should still conduct ourselves professionally and peacefully. I would not say that this is the norm. This does not mean that this is what is going to be occurring for the next few days, weeks, or months. This is unusual.
Richard, for you, what doesn't really make sense in this whole story?
I will say, first of all, that it is very unfortunate that such like a murder can happen in the 21st century, whether the fact that it may have been committed by an individual, a group of persons, but all indications leads at a situation that such like a murder may have been committed by more than one individual. And the other thing that now calls into focus is the capacity of the homicide department, of our criminal investigation department, because these were not turned to any other murder that we have been taken through to. Remember at a time like this one, almost at a time like this one last year, we had Jacob Juma's case. Nothing has been done. So maybe these are some of the reasons that are making cases of homicide to become a booming business. But no, what needs to be done currently is whoever will be coming in to carry out the investigation should deploy what we call 6 soldiers into this, which comprises of what happened, where, when, who, why, and how.
Okay.
If anybody deploys that, then it will be very easy to unravel.
We will be coming back for you to explain further that, but let's speak to